Welcome to Behavior Code Podcast. I'm your host, Yogi Chris, PhD, YCD, PhD, Yogi Chris DeVilbiss, if you didn't know my last name. Some people don't know my last name. DeVilbiss, that's how you say it. DeVilbiss, Chris DeVilbiss. This is the Alphas Code. Just to recap, after the event, we just did a 3-day event that was absolutely traumatizing and at the same time enlightening. I went through so many emotions. It's just unreal. I'm still coming out of it really and integrating new frame of mind. So we'll talk about it a little bit today. We can really say anything because it's the place that it's delivered from. As I was just telling one of my apprentices, I don't want to hold back really. I only hold back if I think it's if you'll take the information and damage yourself with it somehow, which can happen. If I start feeling bad, like I'm giving something away that should be reserved for the paid group, because there is a Silent Flute is my paid group, or the Lion's Den with my teacher AZD would be the paid group. Other than that, man, I'm here to inspire you, motivate you, and on this subject, and to do more on this subject. Your relationships are possibly the most important decisions that you're going to make in your life. Who you give your time to. If you didn't know, you only got a little bit of time. Not a lot of time, just a little bit of time. It passes real fast. And the time from the beginning, like the first 5 years, you don't remember too much of that. There wasn't too many decisions there that you can miss it. It's going to be kind of like that the last 5 years of your life too, or the last 10 years or whatever. The end of your life, there's not much living left to do, maybe. I mean, I have plans to organize it so that even though I may be a vegetable and can't do anything except sit there, maybe what if I'm a meditation master? Then I'm supposed to sit there, So if I organize my life so that that's what I'm recognized as, I can be that vegetable old man on the mountain with a beard that just tells stories all day, right? I wish that my grandpa could be that. He's not that. Right now, he is that when I go around him, but he's put himself, he wasn't social throughout his life. He was enough for his business, very successful in business, 3 businesses. Well, I mean, 1 business, and then he retired Army officer, so on. So 3 occupations, careers, whatever. That's what it is, 3 careers, but didn't bring people along with him. Now, what happens is you're going to drag people along with you. They're going to be dragging you back as you move forward, resisting you along the way. And the thing is you're doing that for them too, right? But the more self-centered you become, the more focused on your own evolution, maybe selfish you become. Maybe self-centered isn't the right phrasing. It would be selfish. The more selfish you become about your life and you're living it and no one can live it for you, you'll accept less and less resistance, and you'll have less and less time and energy to give resistance to other people. But you'll see eventually you still have that tendency, that programming in you too. So you're expunging it from you while you move forward in your path. And so what a reward, or what a goal, and what a checkpoint really, to have a community of people that are on that similar path, that they might resist your growth as much as you resist them, because that's the autopilot we were all given. But they're checking themselves as you check yourself, and you're aiming actually to not do that, to not resist their life and actually focus more on designing your life. So as you move forward in this very short blip of time that you have here in life, are you leading or are you following? Are you leading or are you following? Who are you following? Who are you leading? Are you leading yourself? How well are you leading yourself? Where are you leading yourself to? Who are you following? Are you trying to reinvent the wheel and recreate a success for yourself? It's already been created elsewhere. There's been a plan. There's a method. My friend Diogenes said on the Beast Camp this last weekend, you missed it. But like he said, a method leads to leverage. That's what a method is. Raul Cervantes is here. We'll get his take on stuff. Very successful businessman. When you have a method for how to do a task or accomplish something, you now have leverage more than other people. You can leverage the moment. You can leverage people when you have a sales language like Pete Kirkwood. maybe if you're selling something, you're looking for a leverage when you have a template or a system or an architecture of how the conversation should go. You have leverage because the other person doesn't really. You know, in business, Raul would have leverage over people that don't have a system in place. For other businesses, competitors that have a method, if his method is better, then he has more leverage. In wrestling, if I have a better, you know, Ryan Gafficon's on, he does jujitsu. The person that knows any jujitsu does a lot better than the person that knows no jujitsu. You know how to put the leverage on. But once both people know some jujitsu, who has better method? Method leads to leverage on the situation, right? So this architecture. So, you know, are you following? Are you leading? Who are you leading? Who are you following? And who are you dragging along? So one of my biggest takeaways from the event was the idea of converting your beta lines to alpha lines. What's that mean when we say like lines like that? Is communication lines. It's very interesting. It may be a placebo effect, but at this point, I'm starting to see my communication with individuals as actual two-dimensional lines, because lines are two-dimensional if you didn't know, or even three-dimensional where it's like a tube or a funnel. If you ever saw Donnie Darko, I see like a energy connection tube between me and people. And it's very voluminous. It's like three-dimensional almost, because I like Juzoka or whatever her name is, like in Brazil, boom, I see a line, but it goes way far. Raul is right there. I see it through the computer, but I know it's going through the electricity to wherever, Los Angeles. Same with everybody, or if somebody's present with me. Like most people, if they're not directly in front of you, physically present, then you are communicating with them in your mind. They exist in your mind. And even when you're talking to them on the phone or on a video or whatever, they exist in your mind. I'm talking to all of you in my mind about you. I could unmute you unmute, and then you start talking. And so now we're talking, but you're still a voice in my head. Like, it's just, we get varying levels of closeness. Like the closer you are, even if you were here, a girl was here and we're hugging and whatever, we feel each other. We're existing in each other's sensory nervous system, which is interpreted by our brains. Our brains are interpreting the sensory experience of each other. And that's all we're doing right here on the video. I'm interpreting the sensory experience of you if I hear you or see you. And if we're not here, if I don't see you, turn off the video or even turn off the audio. Like how, if I turned off your audio, but I see your image and I'm talking to you in my mind, basically. It's just an image of you. I'm talking to you. You're reacting, and you're another person on the other side of things. So you are some random variable introduced to my virtual reality that I actually don't have control over. That's outside of my control. What's in my control is, let's say if I close my eyes and I have an image of you, I can keep talking to the image of you and you could react. I can make it react. But when I open my eyes and I'm looking and there's you could react differently. The idea of influence is, let me get you to react the way I want you to in my mind. And, you know, bad influencer would be, you're not acting the way I want you to in my mind, right? And so now, when we have the humans, how we interact as a social creature, not really very strong individually, but strong into, you know, wise really. And then together through our combined effort, we can apply leverage through this method of language that we've developed to leverage our environment and be the most dominant species. So we're powerful like that, but because of our language, our social use of language. And what happens is because of energetic reasons, and we don't have to get into that, but hierarchy is organized. Self-organization creates hierarchical structures of energy. That is actually the fourth law of thermodynamics, little known, it's esoteric, it's part of my PhD actually, was that, you know, organic systems like human society will self-organize hierarchical structures. So basically you get a hierarchy of power. and all the way from a 2-person group to a 3, 4, 5, 10-person group, 100 million, whatever person group, you'll get hierarchies of structure and power. And so there's alpha, there's beta, all the way down to omega, the bottom of the barrel, right? So there's actually not a population. This is one of the realizations I had after the event. There's actually not, it's not a population of beta males. It's actually a population of omega males. It's a bunch of men that are going around as bottom, hated by society. If you're a white man, most white men are walking around omega males, trying to out beta each other. They're actually trying to out beta each other. They think of it as alpha, but there's not a real alpha in the environment. They're out beta-ing each other. You know, there's like AMOGs. These are BMOGs, beta males of the group. They're trying to out beta each other like bitches, like females would, so that they can be the top beta under the alpha female. That's how most guys are walking around. They're walking around as omega males trying to out beta each other. Now, what's the difference? The omega male would be very defensive. The beta male would be very challenging of the alpha. The alpha would acknowledge those challenges, or accept that that's what's happening, is that they're moving through the world being challenged. And you're going to convert the lines of communication that you have with people and upgrade them to be more alpha, where you're more cause, less effect, more decision. And there's a lot to the alpha code that has to do with sexuality. Alpha is for sex. That is what the alpha does. Versus a provider male or a seducer male. There's a difference between a seducer male and an alpha male. The seducer male might compromise alpha behaviors for the seduction. The alpha isn't the leader. The alpha is the alpha. There's a lot of overlap in these characteristics. You could almost think of it as like a Venn diagram. Take alpha and take all the other words that are not alpha that we associate with like leader man. Like, okay, leader, provider, protector, seducer, what other words? What other words would be there? Those are the main words. So where do all these words, they overlap in definition, and there's distinctions also. There's something similar between a leader and a provider. There's something similar between a protector and a provider, and a protector and a leader. There's these overlaps between these definitions of the words. Where is alpha? You know? So getting the mindset from the weekend and then going back to your communications, this is naturally what happens after every big event. Is you leave, you probably don't communicate as much to, let's say I do 20 to 30 prospecting messages a day to different people. Like those become many more messages, but new lines, 20 to 30 lines. Plus there's a bunch of replies from the lines before. And then there's a few personal relationships that are also in the mix there. And so 30 to 40 communication lines a day. Some of them go deeper. Some of them get on the phone. Some of them might even be in person. You might, and in fact, if I included the in-persons, that's just my lifestyle because I live with 4 other monks. Raul might have completely different structure because of the in-person component or the family component, but you only have so many communication lines through your day. And when you leave to go to an event, or even if you stay where you are and you're online, you basically leave your relationships to do this online immersion event. You barely have time to recover from one session before the next session. And so you're basically absent from everybody else's life until you come back Monday, maybe Sunday night. You've changed. The communication line that was established, one end of it has changed. The charge has changed, the power level, the amplitude, whatever, the frequency, whatever. It's changed. Now this one is going to swing for that high five because they could have their eyes closed and think they know where you're at. Are you going to be right where they thought you're at? So then though that creates like these conflicts or whatever that may happen if you ever have those after big event weekends, where there's a little perturbation, sometimes really good, sometimes bad. Usually it's more of an up down or a down up, where something really profound. Let's say you go back to your woman and it's the best sex ever. Like you got this energy, you got these speech patterns, you got this confidence. The next day there's a big fight about your confidence and how you're talking to her. This is the same things. Or vice versa. You get back and you go too hard on her. You want to correct her because you learn this new datum for a relationship and you do it too hard. And the next day you soften up, but in an alpha way, and you have the best love the next day. It goes through this like down up or this up down. Or in your business too, there might be some immediate closes, but then there'll also be some immediate rejections that were on the fringe. That's basically what you'll see. And that's what you're converting, you're upgrading all of the lines of communication to the new beingness that you exited the system. Everything kind of crystallized and just froze there because it doesn't change unless something changes it. It'll gradually disintegrate. That's the second law of thermodynamics. But it's well established, people are pretty fixed where they are. And so it's not going to change too much. You leave for 2-3 days, do your change, come back into geographically the same place where you left off. But now you're emanating a new signal. And people that are connected up to it, they either change with the new signal or it breaks the connection. And that happens every event where you upgrade your communication lines to the new information. Now with the alpha code, the alpha event, this was the code of the alpha. Your information was it was clarifying behaviors. No matter what you would admit internally, if you wish to be more leader, more cause, more alpha, more sex code. That word is not just it though. It's not just sex, but it is the code that gets laid in nature. This is when you get clear on the ideas internally, away from the opinions of other people, you may make a decision to change. And as you change on multiple concepts, you start to polarize your mind towards that identity of the alpha code. Now you go back, and this is very specific. Now you turn your lines beta where you were alpha. It may not vibe with you. You go back and see how you were texting or how you're talking. It doesn't align. It's like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I feel like I have to abandon my teachings from the event to continue this line as it is. Let me utilize some of my teachings from the event, apply it to this line, and it will either flip the other person or repel the other person, create a lot of chaos in the communication line, but stick at it, impose your new beingness. And you'll emanate out that new vibe into your environment. The vibe will just like the sand on the metal plate where they play vibrations through it and it organizes the sand into shapes. You will organize your environment to a new shape from your new vibe. And you'll design your environment four-dimensionally by emanating out that vibe from your new beingness after a transformative event. And it restructures things. This particular event was focused on the alpha code, the alphabet of the alpha, and those concepts, and it reoriented. So I'm very, very interested in how people were reoriented. We got a big audience. I'm sure somebody's available to talk. We got Ryan Gaffercom was online. Angel Valencia was here live. Jayson Phillips was online. Peter Kirkwood, you've been in part of the Lions Den group for a long while, so that if nobody has anything to say, we want to get your take on these new alpha code stuff that you've been getting. Oracle was here live. Shamir was live. Arslan, welcome to the show. Tim Randolph just joined Lions Den, my brother from Maryland, where I grew up. And these are the men that we have online right now. Anybody have any experiences of feeling what I'm talking about, this reorientation inside and how it's affected your lines of communication?
Yogi Chris, if I may.
You may.
You may. Ryan G from the Netherlands. Hope you're well. One of the things that really stood out to me was clearly my communication towards what I want and what I was getting, be it in relationships, be it in setting up dates, be it in setting up business meetings towards prospecting, and you name it. And by simply tweaking my language, I've managed to gain a lot. Of course, I lost a few along the way, but the sacrifice was worth it, if you understand what I mean. So
Sounds
my
like an exchange, really. Yeah. Sounds like you exchange some dead weight, the dragging, like I was talking about, is dragging along with you. And I don't know how much detail you want to go into that, but basically, yeah, you change your communication. Some people it broke ties, and some people, it changed for you.
and this follows the principle of every advantage has a price. This is a stoic principle. I would rather have this current alpha communication and let go of the dead weights that has been just how would you translate this, dragging down my mentality and keeping me from what is more free, more abundant, more infinite. This is the power of the alphabet or the alpha code. That would be all.
Yeah, a lot of feelings. Good. A lot of feeling abundant, and yeah, a lot that is transformative. The inner world has transformed. Anybody else? Anybody else that was at the event, live or online? I could talk about my experience all day, but you guys are here. I want to hear everybody else. I've been talking about it. Ryan Gaffercon, that feeling of abundance. What do you think that came from? Was that just ideas of abundance? Like that wasn't a main subject of the weekend. Like, how did that come about for you?
Well, I'm also cross studying a lot between if I learn something, I always try to look back at what we learned before. So the previous bootcamp had a lot to do with the surrender experiment, the untethered soul. And one of the main hypotheses I had was these boot camps tend to be connected in some way, shape, or form. So looking back, what I realized was the letting go part is evidently connected to the part of the expression. So if I am to express myself as alpha or as the alpha by creating such communication lines, I have to let go of the beta communication lines, or at least the ones that are extremely unproductive, or the
I hear what you're saying there, and here's how I'm hearing it: is in these words is basically I have to let go of my own beta way of being in order
yeah,
to accept the alpha, right?
exactly.
So there's a surrendering because internally there's resistance to that because of habit, maybe. I don't know. What do you think?
I would say it's a cage we've built through either our culture, the family we have, the society we take part in, the social circle we have been a part of for years and years and years and years. I mean, I come from a more Indian background, which kind of advocates the beta behavior. I'm not sure if it's true for the rest of the cultures, but it's very prevalent to be of servitude, and I've seen it with my dad. I've seen it with um, my other friends. A lot of beta male behavior.
I
Well,
think
that
there's a general in the religions. I think is self-sacrifice is preached, and so
mhm,
that's beta would be the self-sacrifice. Really, even approaching omega depends on how slave the person really goes in their mindset or mentality.
true.
But the alpha is about himself, and that is the alpha code, and that's just what it is. And that's what I would want any woman that follows to really understand. Because if I'm all about myself, then all you got to make sure of is that you're good with me, because I'm going to make sure I'm good. I'm going to make sure I'm good. So if you're good with me, I'm going to be good too. And that's what you should really be choosing a man for, to mate with anyway, or to give that allegiance to, would be a man that's going to be good, that has high survival value. And then you measure that, you compare. That's what the female does. And that's what the alpha embraces, is the competitiveness of it, that this is not everybody wins. I got to earn it. I'm earning it.
Yep.
Right. And that's where we start to love ourselves, actually, because I cannot afford to drag deadbeats along with me throughout my life if I'm trying to win. Right. Just like a fucking gold medal, but it's the gold medal of my life. You know, this day, like an AZD analogy, this activity is no less important than the Olympian training for their sport, their game, their hobby. This is actually more important. This is my life. They're going to get some gold medal and some recognition. And then what? How many athletes have I known that were stars? And then what happens afterwards? Are they really prepared for life? They brought a bunch of attention to themselves. It's like an Insta-famous kind of person. Can they handle that? Do they have the structure of mind, the mindset, and the understanding, philosophy, and wisdom? You know, that maybe not. So definitely my life is more important than that. And I'm going for it. You know, that's carpe diem. So we're earning it. We know that the alpha's got to earn it. And that's what you're doing in your own life. So you come here and we got a master alpha, a master of alphas attacking the code of alpha. He's writing it by reading it through his life, because he's designed his life to be so involved in that dynamic that he just becomes, you know, the point source for that. He's like the news reporter on the pulse of the storm of the male-female code, giving us the latest updates on how it's shifting. He's, you know, and then that's where I'm here. I'm here as the news reporter, writing, sending out newsletters. We're all here studying and going back to our environments and applying the newest technology from the research of the male-female code. It's way ahead of science. I know, I'm a scientist. I have a PhD and a master's degree in hard science. I know what hypotheses and the scientific method is and testing. We're ahead of that stuff because that's too slow. That stuff is slow and it's very difficult to control for things, but the human mind is able to perceive patterns. That's what they're even testing. They're even testing for things because they've already seen the pattern. They're just trying to evaluate what are the causes. And that's why you got to control for so many things. But success is just as valuable of proof as a scientific, statistically rigorous experiment. Success, long-term success, that matters too. And that's what we're looking at when we look up the mountain here that we're all going up, you know? So that's the alpha code. Here, the alpha at the top of the mountain is not the renunciate, but the champion. The hero, like Diogenes said, what was it? What's the name of that gladiator? I just read it. It's a new word. You know, the mentor. It's almost like a mentor, a minotaur. I think he's a minotaur. I think it was the minotaur, right? It's a champion, but a champion of his own life. He's not competing for your medals. He's competing just to show you he don't need your medals, and I'll beat you at your game, but I don't need to. But what else is there to do? What else is there to do? I'm going to beat you at the game and show you that I don't care about winning. But I'm going to keep winning because inside I know that I do care about winning. It's just not what you think it is. Winning is the alpha code. The alpha code is winning. But you would be too sensitive to hear the alpha code. It would disturb you. Let's talk about that. What are some disturbing realizations that some of you that attended the event this last 3 days? What are some moments for you, if you care to share? Anybody online or live care to share? I could talk about mine, but you know, I hear myself all day.
Chris.
What's
Chris.
up? Zavriel.
What's up?
Zavriel was here live. How was it for you, man? This is your first time meeting Arash.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Most awesome and historic thing probably. And yeah, dude, it just like opened my eyes, dude. It really opened my eyes a lot.
For sure. It was big eye-opening. I can see your eyes are still open right now. Yeah. Right. Very cool. For sure. Anybody else?
Yep.
What was so eye-opening for you, Xavriel? If you could articulate.
Wow, just like just the way he communicates blows me away,
Mhm.
you know. And more than that, it was just being in the culture.
Right.
You know, the whole culture just knew a whole different experience.
Yeah, like how so? What was so different for you?
Like the scent, you know, of the whole thing is driving me crazy.
Yep.
Yep.
In a good way. When he says crazy, he means in a good way. It's stabilizing for the mind. It's almost like olfactory therapy or something, you know, the incense and the smells.
Definitely. The scent is driving me crazy. That's all I have to say.
Right on. That's good. Brother, if you get yourself some incense, you can help to re-stimulate the teachings from the weekend. Just if you just get
Okay.
some Namchampa incense, and when you burn it, the smell of it will help you recall because it obviously left a deep impression in your mind and your nervous system.
Big time. Big time.
Yeah, so definitely
And
get
you
some
know what?
incense.
Chris? I gave my dad a big hug today, and
Nice.
I felt great. I felt really great because I felt like I lifted everything off my shoulders. You
Fuck
know?
yeah. Man, that's heartwarming. Makes me a
Yeah.
little bit misty right now.
I am changed, man.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. And that's called karma exchange because now your dad has changed. And now everybody that interacts with him has changed. And your investment in yourself ripples through your environment and through the people connected through your communication lines. He's not the only one that benefited. He just got a hug. I'll bet everybody that interacts with you is benefiting through your change. And so your change ripples through all of your communication lines.
Yes, big time. And I think that this is a result of that. You know, this what happened today is a result of what I did
Yes.
there with you guys. You know.
Amen. It's fucking dope.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome, brother. That makes it really nice for me. Sometimes I get a little bit pushy for guys to come to camps, and that makes it really nice for me because you just don't know the value of some of these things until you're put in a situation. And that is a social situation. Do you see that the hug of the father, that's a social dynamic that
Yes.
you don't know how valuable these things are until a social situation emerges that your reaction or action or decision,
Yes.
you would have never made that decision or action had you not done that investment. And it's like, that's where the value comes in. That's where it's like, oh, this is invaluable because I wouldn't have known to do that or thought to say that. Because,
Yes.
you know, and so it's a very difficult benefit to measure outside of just our words about it. We can measure it by telling how awesome it was, but
Yeah.
you know, so this is a very interesting, we're redefining spirituality, redefining personal development, self-help, redefining
Because
relationships.
that relationship was broken before this camp. I promise you.
Whoa,
You know, it was broken and I fixed it.
man.
So I owe you guys that.
Hey, hey man, the exchanges, we're good. we're even. Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah, fair exchange is already come back. Come back.
Uh,
You know, are you going to be able to make it this month, Xavier? The June?
um, there's another Reese camp coming up.
It'll be a different. I don't know what it's going to be, man. I
Okay.
think it's going to be more pickup and related to the early stages of open, demonstrating value, disqualifying yourself as a suitor, like that.
Whenever I can make it there, I will accept that offer.
Fuck yeah. Well, when I'm more clear on what it is, I'll be sure to let everybody know, really. I mean, I know as much. Like Ryan was saying, it makes sense. Each month it builds on itself, but that makes sense because the teacher is teaching an organic process that he's living, evolving, and changing, keeps himself engaged so much with females that evolution has to take place. Insert in that a little bit of study each day. You know, he studies Mickey Singer, he studies, you know, whatever videos he studies. And you've got yourself, and then add to that, like I was telling Cortez, I was like, add to that, the only time you're not doing that is when you're talking about doing that. You're teaching about doing that. You're talking with other guys that are trying to get good at doing that. Like the whole life is designed as I'm either talking about it or I'm being about it or I'm studying about it or
Yes,
I'm
I know.
shitting or eating, you know, it's
Yes.
like I am and do that for a long time. And so, yeah, the evolution is real. It's organic. Each month it changes. It's a different potency. It's a different subject. And, you know, really, I recommend as quick as possible, somebody should get on, meet him in person so that you get that stamp, that internal reference of like the vibe, the communication. It'll go back and start to change your reality a little bit. Like I've already said throughout this lecture, and come back. You'll see more. You're more able to see more the more of an imprint you make about it.
And that's what I was trying to get at today, and I did it. So I really owe you. I can't thank you guys enough. Really, I can't.
I feel you.
And I wish I was there right now, man. I wish I was there, but you know, I gotta work. I gotta go to work, and I'll be there, you know, whenever I can, and keep doing it. Keep doing it.
You just keep doing it. That's what it is. That's the wheel. You know, that's the coat of arms. That's the wheel. You just keep doing it every day. Discipline. Wake up. Stoicism. Beast. Live your life. Wake up. Stoicism. Beast. Live your life. Wake up. Stoicism. Beast. Your life. Wake up. Stoicism. Beast. Your life. Pretty soon, it's just like you're like at the punching bag. You got the rhythm of it. You're like doing tricks, stepping around, doing this one-handed. That's how you're doing your life. And now when you got that skill, you're ready for the next skill, you know?
Okay. Yes. So how much is the upcoming event?
It's 2K, brother. As far as I'm aware, that's what it is now. And there's a VIP going out to Spearmint Rhino, a few celebrities. It's a very exclusive event. That's an additional 3K. So it's 5K because it's 5K, but it includes the Beast Camp. But the Beast Camp itself, or whatever it's called, I'll call it a Beast Camp now. I don't know what it will be. I'd imagine it's related to, I don't know what it'll call it, but the 3-day transformative event here at the temple will be 2K, 1997.
But the bundle is
5K for the Spearmint Rhino VIP package. That also comes with, you'll be have a video promo made about you for the event by Pyro. Master Pyro's videos are awesome. And there'll be a unique level of teaching that you'll get because you'll have seen things that he can refer to. The depth of the skill set, the depth of the pickup is not visible until the proper environmental circumstances you'll only know how good a person is when they reach their limit of how much they can handle. That's how you know how good they are. You don't know how good the grappler is until someone beats them.
right.
If nobody ever beats them, you don't know how good they are. You'll start mythologizing them. They're the best ever. Even though you start comparing them to people in other time eras because nobody's beating them. And so imagine an environment. Let's say you could approach any girl, but imagine 2, 3, group of 5, 7. But what if her parent is there? What if she's what if you're in a new environment? What if you're not dressed well? What if you smell, you didn't shower, but you happen to find yourself there? Like, what's the limit of what you could make happen? Right. And what I'm telling you is the closer I get with AZD and the skill set of pickup, I haven't seen it yet. Keep stacking on the situations and you'll just keep seeing more of an ability to influence.
Yes.
Almost like a Chinese finger trap or something. And
Okay.
Right. And so this is going to be one of those things that's going to leave a really deep impression on you for your eminent success as you build your business and life and you find yourself in affluent situations. You'll forever have that earlier experience of seeing a man in a highly affluential situation game and pull the genetic strings of a bunch of strippers who are trained at pulling men's genetic strings. You see a really high level of communication. It's going to change you on a profound level. That's the 5K. And then it comes with a promo video that's going to make you look super dope, and you can use it for probably.
When is it again?
That's the 17th is the VIP night, and then the weekend is the 18, 19, 20 of June. 18, 19, 20.
Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest. I have court coming up, and I'll try my best. I'll try my best to do it. Okay. So I'm in a little bit of a what's it called?
Yeah, you got responsibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got some responsibilities. That's cool. Check in with that. Let me know about the dates. There'll be a special announcement probably in the next day or two where AZD will specifically announce like maybe a topic or a flyer or something like that. So you have a day or two to think about it. But you definitely, if you want to put some money down and lock in your spot because there's only so much time, so many spots available, then you can always do that. And that's the way to go. And then if you have to downgrade because you have to court and you can't come live, then we just apply it to the online part.
Okay, Chris. Thank you.
You're welcome, brother. That goes for everybody. If you know that you want to come and you don't want to, what if you missed the Lions Den lecture? You happen to miss it, and he announces for the next 12 hours if you sign and I don't happen to message you in time, and so you missed the discount period. That happened last month. You can always put money down to lock in. You know the event's happening. You know what the price is going to be about, and then whatever offer is offered. I'll tell you from experience as a student that the teacher favors the people that sign up sooner. There's just something about that. You guys want to see the list of last month before I erase it? This is last month. This is this. I sent a picture of this to AZD and the guys we have a chat group for all of us here. I was like, these are the guys that are coming this month.
Wow.
That was last month. 37 people online, 13 people live. How many of those were last minute signups? How many of these people got the initial bonuses? And then there was a long time to pick up one or two people here. And then there was a flood of people at the end.
Yeah.
So look out for that. And I'll try to keep everybody updated, but I text a lot and sometimes I forget people. Okay. So this has been a really rewarding session. Does anybody else have anything they want to say about the 3-day event that we just went through? Right. I could keep going. I'm limitless on this.
I'll unmute myself, Chris. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Salute. That was my first two-handed salute. Have you guys ever seen that? I didn't know which hand to salute with, so I did a two-handed salute. It's pretty cool, actually, but not really. It's kind of weird.
Yogi Chris, can you hear me good?
What's up, my big beast brother?
What's up, man? Hey, I just want to give Xavier a shout out. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name properly, but I don't think I heard you speak that much this whole weekend until right now. So I can definitely see the effect.
Man. Thank you.
Definitely see the effect. I'm excited for you, man. Stick around, do as much as you can.
I will, dude. You know what? You touched me, dude. That's awesome. Thank you.
Cool, man. Cool.
Big time.
Awesome. I mean, I don't even know where to begin with the experience, Yogi Chris. I mean, it's just it's been incredible. Cleaning, like you mentioned earlier, cleaning those communications lines that where you've been beta, and understanding what code and what language to use to impose your frame and impose for you to lead. At the end of the day, it's about leading and leading properly and not backing down from that. So I think I just want to mention that. I don't know if anybody else has something to say about that, but thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of course, man. You know, I feel you, you know, just to
Yep.
be a proper leader and tap into that energy and, um, you know, how to express yourself so that you can be a better person because it's amazing.
Yes,
Yeah, go
Yogi
ahead.
Chris. It's
Yeah.
Jose Guerrero. Um,
Guerrero.
yes, sir. What I've noticed in my for me is like I said, my balls have grown a lot more,
Oh, that's
but I
nice.
still have a problem speaking in front of a group, and I noticed it
Clearly,
extremely
clearly you have
clearly.
such a problem speaking in front of a group.
Well, let me tell you why. Because today in Lions Den, when AZD asked me to speak, and I pretty much didn't describe as much as I saw, and that really fucked with me, you know. But
Fuck yeah.
it and it should fuck with me because that means that I have to keep pushing myself and keep speaking. Like right now, I have to push myself to keep speaking and bring these fucking words out. So next time he asks me to speak, I will be better prepared. What I should have done is written down everything I saw, and then it would have been better for me to speak about it. But I made a fool out of myself, and that's okay because that's how I learn, right? So that's what I wanted to share right there.
I like having you around a lot. I like having you around a lot. And, you know, join, like, I'm really interested in my personal success, guys. I'm not trying to fool you into thinking I'm not interested in my personal success. I am really proud of this. You guys know how much the Beast Camp was. Now, I look at my bank account till this morning, and somehow I have $2,900 less than I thought I was supposed to have. I did the math like twice this weekend. I don't know how that happened. And so I had all these plans for investing in the IMC website, and it's not going to happen right now. I think it's because of payments. People are on payments, and I did the math wrong. But let me add to that. I am extremely interested in you all fucking succeeding, and myself. So success for myself, success for you, right? I'm interested in success with money and success with women, and success with my lifestyle. And the clubhouse and these podcasts are our opportunities to share ideas and dialogue more on these ideas, to get our mind out there. Like Oracle is recording. I have a second device going right now that has on Instagram. I'm also streaming it to Facebook. So how many of you have two devices that you could be on Instagram Live right now? Or Facebook, or did you share the post? Get the word out. We're on Clubhouse. Have you shared the app with people that need to join? Who are you in communication with? Telegram. Are you leading a group? If you don't know how to lead a group, you didn't come to tribal council. If you're a tribal council, you know how to lead your group. Me, my fucking yoga groups are atrophying because I'm just so goddamn pissed at my fucking yoga groups because of the just deplorable purchase rate of my last product, which is the best product I've ever put out, was self-massage. Maybe I didn't promote it right, but people didn't buy it in those groups, so fuck them. But I'll go back to them. I'm going to kick a bunch of people out, and that's fine. Same with the apprentices. Now I'm kicking a bunch of people out. I just said, you have 24 hours to reply or I'm kicking you faggots out. So I said my apprentice group. So there's 10 other people, me and 10 other people. So you lead. You get on the Telegram, you get on the Clubhouse app, you talk. You join these Zoom streams, you talk. You, on some days that a Zoom stream or a Clubhouse, you didn't make it, you go on Instagram Live, you talk. And you practice this talking. Now the IMC website, we're building it, the imcbase1.com. I am having the Zay and others build it in a way that there'll be a calendar feature. The calendar will have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. 7 blocks, or maybe vertically. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday. Inside each block will be 1 o'clock, Ryan. 2 o'clock, Guerrero. 3 o'clock, Yogi Chris. 4 o'clock, AZD. Who has a podcast or a show that day? Scripps, Ryan, and the other guy. You know, the guy with the tattoo and the
Ivan.
Ivan. Scripps, Ivan, and Ryan. Sunday at 3 or whatever. And there's the Zoom link. And so we have a calendar for all the IMC beasts that they're broadcasting. You can see when they're going live. It's organized in one place. Also, on the bios page, AZD's at the top. Zay put Yogi Chris right next to AZD. I don't mind it, but I'm not trying to say that I'm up there with him, but that's how he just put it. So it's cool. I don't mind it. I told him, you don't have to change it, but I didn't tell you to do that. Everybody's going to think I did, but I didn't. And then underneath that is Cortez and Fernando and Sultan. And then underneath that, I want to have rows of 4 of all the beaded monks. Maybe a quick 1-sentence bio or just a name and a profession or something like that. So, and then that's where AZD, he was inventing like the stamps. Like if you did tribal council, you have that stamp. If you did the Canine Clan, you have that stamp. Like there'll be some stamps on your image or next to your name that show what trainings you've done. Those are the only people eligible to have a on the calendar, are the people that are there, but then the calendar is that. I have a newsletter, I'll be promoting it. That's the website people are going to be going to for the Beast Camp. And then we have Clubhouse. Clubhouse is our opportunity to expand our lines because Instagram censors us. So we can use Instagram and Facebook still. We'll connect with people. But Clubhouse is our opportunity to really grab new audience there, more so than these other 2 apps. So we keep bringing people in. We're leading somebody on Telegram. So we get them off of Instagram. We get them on Telegram onto our whatever we're leading, whatever skill or hobby or whatever we're good at, whatever. And, from there, it's very easy to get people on Clubhouse. Join the conversation about it. We do our podcasting on Clubhouse, but I post videos inside the Telegram. Now, the Clubhouse you can't record it, so the podcast dissipates into the ether. So these are better because this is video and it's recorded. It could go on YouTube and everything. YouTube censors also. Those old platforms censor. Clubhouse and Telegram doesn't right now. So we'll use it. Be ready to migrate. Be adaptable. The alpha just adapts. Fuck it. Right? So it's very easy to bounce them to Clubhouse. Now you've bounced. You've built a lot of comfort with people that are following you. And now join the lines then. Join me for a Beast Camp. Join me. We're going to have alternative Beast Camps. Like Base 2 is going to have a camp. Different people can do different trainings and we'll post it on the IMC Base 1 website. It'll be an events page. That's what it's leading to. So this is the precursor to IMC TV because I'm talking about a calendar with a schedule of people having podcasts. Now we'll have a bunch of recordings. What do we do with them? You get it? So there'll be another layer of creation, but we got to take the next steps to make visible the next steps after that. You got to get over that little hump in the mountain to see the next hump. You're going up the ridge, Right? All right. So we have a special stream in 2 hours for the Tribal Council guys. You should have gotten an email, or if you have beads, then you would have gotten an email. If you don't have an email, you could purchase the Tribal Council. AZD wants it sold for $14.97. The recording is $1,500 for the Tribal Council. So that's what that is. Or you can keep coming back and get some beads and join the conversation. 8 o'clock tonight in 2 hours. It's going to be for those guys. I think some of you are on for how to do business. He's probably going to reveal some of this stuff. I mean, this is me riffing on what he said to me yesterday while I was getting a chicken burger or whatever. So, or whatever the fuck it was. Grilled chicken burger. We don't call them chicken burgers, but it's chicken. Right? Protein, lean protein. Too many milkshakes lately. Not enough calisthenics. Okay. Anything else? We have a healthy audience here. Miguel, come to the Beast Camp. Who thinks they're coming to the Beast Camp this month? Anybody? Anybody ready to reserve it?
I might be going. I might be, but I do want to talk about something.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Okay. So
is this going to be a difficult topic to talk about?
No, but like the whole, it's amazing how good I feel just being in the relationship with my dad. Yeah. Again,
Yeah, man. Embrace it. When the libtards, they call it the new normal. Let's use that word to our advantage. This is the new normal, man, for you. Good relations with your family. Or at least good boundaries. I don't have a good relation with my sister on the surface, but I do on a deeper level. Because it's no longer dragging me in my life. And at the same time, she's no longer using me as that crutch. So she can move on to better crutches for her. And then when she needs me, she can use me and I'll be here for that. So it allows me to actually succeed better so that if or should she ever need me, I'll be further along because I wasn't trying to bring her along with me.
Yep.
You know, so it works in
And
both ways.
yes.
I have a question for you, Xavier.
Right.
Can you describe a little bit about how your relationship was with your father in the past versus how you are perceiving it now?
Yes. Before I I would I I kind of would like stay away from him because he's so focused in his work, and now I kind of learned to just be cool with it because you know, my dad's always gonna be who, a dad. And before, I felt like he being the elder, when I'm really the smaller one. So now I feel maybe like I matched him, I matched him by giving by saying, you know what, Dad, I love you, and that's pretty much it.
It sounds like the kingdom has split, and you've taken on your own path now. It sounds like you become independent.
Yeah, yeah, and that's really hard, dude, because my dad my dad owns a trash business, dude, like in my town. And what am I gonna do? Run away from him? I don't know. I gotta pick up the the shovel. You know.
Yeah, man, keep studying. You're going to be your own leader, and you matured up, and you'll keep maturing. And the big event is a big change versus a daily mindset, group meeting like Lions Den. When you go away, like I said at the beginning, go away, you come back a different man versus chiseling away at it little by little each day. So that's great. You manned up a little bit. You'll keep manning up and owning your space, and he'll respect you for it. Respect is very closely related with love. You can't be disrespecting each other and loving each other, actually. That's, so he'll respect you
Yeah,
just genetically. He has to. Like the alpha code works on men too. Right? I mean, that's what it is.
And I asked him too. I also asked him about my brother, because my brother doesn't see him. My sister doesn't see him. I said, "Where are they, Dad?" He said, "I don't know." You know, and I'm the only one that's there for him.
There you go. And it's because you're there for yourself.
Right? Yeah.
That's how it's going to be. You're there for yourself and makes you there for him.
Because
I feel the love, man. I feel the love. I can also feel the hella baked level that you're at. You're hella baked. You're so baked. I'm stoneder the more I listen to you, but I appreciate the loving sentiment. Maybe next time you'll be less baked. We can talk a little dialogue a little faster, but I really appreciate the sentiment for sure. Raul, thanks for steering the conversation in that direction, but just gotta, call it as it is. That's a Stoic principle, right? And I appreciate stonedness also. As you can see, I've successfully rolled a second joint for this show because it's going a little long. But whatever. Measure your stonedness against your ability to express yourself. You don't want to paralyze yourself unless you're safe at home watching a movie in a cocoon. That's where you can veg out on the stonedness, right? Facts. And then, right? So it's cool, man. You're sounding better, and I really appreciate you showing up. I got a feeling my connection's not good. Am I lagging out for you guys? No? All right, cool. Anybody else? We'll catch up with Xavier week by week, brother. We do this every Tuesday, so let's keep check on the evolution, man, for sure. Anybody else experience from the weekend?
See you guys later.
Weekend. See you soon, bro. What do we got? Is this the end? We got a bunch of people on, right? A bunch of people, some fresh meat. Who's not coming? People need to come to this. Pete Kirkwood, Miguel Omar, you guys are coming. Got to go. See you in 2 hours. Right later. Yeah. Okay. So maybe we just end it, unless there's any other dialogue about the weekend. You know, the alpha code. I have notes. If you go into the notes for the weekend, I've, edited, made it. It reads more fluidly. I did the spell check and everything, underlined some things. It's really powerful. I included some notes from the bonus Lions Den lectures. It's about 4 or 5 pages of notes. It's in the Beast Camp folder. And I'm very interested. I need to read. Also, I uploaded Diogenes' PDF. So you can check that out. I need to check it out again because I don't, there's some things I'll include. I'm going to grab from that. And one of the things that I'm going to design, I'm going to have Sultan do it because I don't like doing these things. He does it better. Is the alpha male axioms. I'm going to design into a list and make a placard from it.
Hey, can we talk a little bit with Scott about our little conversation towards the end of our camp? You guys had a very powerful conversation, and I think I don't know, it might be powerful to share.
Yeah, and you were especially impacted by it, for sure. You were very impacted by it. What was so impactful about it for you? Scott has his mask on, but maybe he'll jump in here. But I'll ask you first, Oracle. What was so impactful about it for you?
Just the information that he was sharing with you, and the way you were able to take his information, apply the AZD teachings, because I can tell you become like you're right there when it comes to the AZD's teachings, and you were able to utilize this teaching method to guide him in a sense. And so I don't remember exactly what we were talking about. It was a lot of info. What do you remember?
I remember 2 things. One was, to me, it seemed like we were talking a lot about existentialism. The second thing was, I noticed you at some point, I asked Scott a question to clarify something about how he said, and I heard you moan a little bit. You're like, and I heard you appreciate the question because it clarified what we were talking about.
Well, what I noticed is you didn't correct or impose your belief. You just asked a question, and it opened up. It's almost like it opened up a portal for Scott. I don't know if Scott remembers that. Scott?
Yeah, I'd love his take on that because it actually opened up a portal for me into Scott's mind because I did not understand some of the words he was using because he uses them differently than me. So I would ask him for clarification on that. It would open up his mind of the words about those concepts. So it was a portal, literally. Scott, what do you think?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So what? Because I remember we talked about a lot of stuff last night. What in particular?
Well, that's what I'm asking Oracle. Like, what was it that was so profound that would be worth rehashing right now?
I know we talked about how I was saying, like, if I am in meditation and I come across a certain vision in my mind and I just happen to see somebody there, is that like a figure that somebody else would see? That's what we were going over. And then was that, yeah, I think that was it.
That was the main premise, I think, of most of what we were talking about, was this idea of, like, in meditation, if I encounter a scenery and an archetype or a person, and it's exactly the same thing that someone else sees, is that an actual entity outside of my mind? And the variable to the situation was that we're both listening to a guided meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that's more valid if you were not listening to a guided meditation.
Yeah.
It's, if you're both listening to the guided meditation, it's not that it's not valid. It's just that I can't put enough weight into it that you're putting weight into it because it's profound for you. I can't, because I see that variable and I can't just look past it.
Yeah. And then, yeah, we came to that agreement on that. But then I was saying, what if it wasn't guided and you just happened to be somewhere in your mind and you came across a certain
That's
specific...
magic. That's magic. That's what how they test magic. Like, That's how you do like remote viewing. Like, I'm going to hide something in a box here, go into a meditative state and tell me what's in this box.
Mm.
That's what that is basically, is just confirming that there's a universe out there that we're not perceiving with our organs of perception, but we're maybe able to perceive with our brain matter or whatever, our third eye even. And then, but then it all comes back to how is that helping my life right now in this material world? Is there useful information? Or is it just a profound spiritual experience that just lets me know there's more to it than what I see? So it loosens me up a little bit inside, that I don't hold too rigidly to just what I see. Like, you know, so that's basically it's like, where do you go with that? Do you become a sorcerer or a magician or some kind of, even a meditation master? But that's where I'm getting like, you know, I follow Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in terms of meditation. And I don't think there's too much weight in any entity that you see or perceive in meditation. There's not much weight to put into that, because how can you prove that this is not an image of your subconscious mind? You can prove it because someone else saw it, but the TM method is not a guided meditation. So like I said, if it wasn't guided, then that's pretty fucking cool, man. I exist outside of your mind. So if two people are meditating and they perceive me, I do legit exist. So there's lots of aliens and maybe angels you might call a sixth-dimensional being, one that not only travels through time, but also travels through different variations of this universe. Let's say the speed of light is 300,000 kilometers per second. In some other universe, maybe that's different. So sixth-dimensional being would go through all kinds of universes. That speed of light would go through 1 meter per second through, you know, they go through all of the constants of our universe, but those constants fluctuate. So they have multi-universes like that. That would be a sixth, but they're able to, so that we might call that like an angel. The way that we perceive that when they are phasing into our area of perception would be a lot of geometric figures, a lot of light, a lot of crystalline kind of structure, you know. Is it an alien? Is it an angel? I don't know. There are definitely entities that exist out there, you know.
Oh, definitely.
But then what? Do you listen to that entity? What if that entity tells you to do this or that, you know?
So that conversation had me play with the idea that, I mean, that, you know, viewing, let's say we view the same entity during our own process, during our own meditation or whatever that is. But what I was toying with, or the idea that I was toying with, is actually capturing perhaps the consciousness and the ideas of this entity and using them to transform myself. And I think that's what was most impactful for me, because then you mentioned that perhaps I need to be in touch with certain individuals that I connect with so I can gain the next level for me, for myself. Is that something that you remember mentioning?
I didn't catch that last part that you were saying. I need to be in touch with certain individuals. What was that?
Yeah, so you mentioned that perhaps okay, let me be more specific. Like, for example, you know, I'm going through the injury of my hip, my pelvis, right? That's something that is important to me to work on so that I can heal myself and take my physicality to the next level, right? Evolve my body, get in touch with just my being here on this dimension.
Yeah, physical level.
Okay, so the way I took it was connect with that individual that's gonna somehow transfer that information over to me, whether it's through communication or through meditation.
Right. Okay. So this is where we get to the point, and I get this from AZD. So much of what I get from AZD, it just kind of goes without saying. That's why I have AZD tattooed on me. Like, a lot of it is AZD, but this is my grammar of it, and it becomes you as you talk it. So it really boils down to how much is it benefiting your own life? Because if it's a real entity, but their advice is ruining my life, versus a fake imaginative figure, but by pretending that I'm communing with it, I get great advice and it helps my life. The success is really the proof in this life, because for sure I'll die. this body will die. And then if I go on or whatever, like I can't prove none of that, but I know I'm going to die. And the fact that I can't prove what's after that is, I definitely want to value this time that I have here, like a perishable currency or something non-renewable, you know? And so if you imagine, or if you see an entity or an archetype or an animal even, or whatever, and you absorb or mirror some beingness from the imaginative figure, some people might call that downloading information, or communicating. Maybe you can even apply words and internal silent language to the image and have a dialogue with it. But is it a dialogue in your own mind? Is it bringing useful information? You know, and then is it an entity that's outside of you that other people are also communicating with? It still just boils down to, is the information useful? So when it comes to healing your hip, if you talk with some healing master in your mind, or if you talk with a version of yourself that's healed, that would be a useful one. If you imagined a version of you a month in the future, a week in the future, totally healed, feeling good, talking to yourself, hey, what did I need to do to get to where you're at? And yourself tells yourself, well, hey, you got to do this or that, because you'll accept your own advice much more readily than accepting outside advice. Right. So I see Scott raise his hand. What's up, brother?
Yeah, man. When you two were having that whole dialogue, I kept thinking about how AZD was saying, like, just imagine yourself as like a lion, and like you'll start taking on some characteristics whenever you're in a certain situation. So if you're like trying to heal yourself, I mean, you know, the mind is very powerful. If you go in there and, I don't know, let's say you like imagine, I don't know, a human figure of white light, and you're interacting with it, and maybe that interaction is healing you, or maybe he hits you with like white light or something and starts healing you. You know, the whole premise of that is, you know, if it's real or it's not real in your mind, it can still help you out, or it can hinder you too. You know, it could hinder you in the same way, like how certain people think of things in their mind and they make monsters out of them. Well, why can't you think of things in your mind and make like gods out of them? You know, if it's going to help you heal up. I mean, I know a lot of people just from using their mind can heal their bodies.
And it's using them. That's the whole point, that the mind is using people unless you're using your mind. There's no, that's what I silent flute lectured on last night. There's no in between. You're either using it or it's using you. There's no stable, stationary state. The mind doesn't sit still. So how much you're using it, and that's the process. The TM process is not to use your mind. Use it a little bit, just enough so that you can notice when it's sparking off other activity, and then surrender to that other activity. And so it processes. So you de-stress the body and the mind through the TM meditation. So you come to see that most all, if not all, mental imagery and activity is just de-stressing the body. It's just the body de-stressing. And we are reacting to our own de-stressing images, actually, just like you were saying. We're psychosomatically reacting to everything we're thinking about. So as we de-stress and the body de-stresses and we dream or we daydream, we react to our own dreams about things. Isn't it weird? It's like a dog chasing its tail. That's what we do with our minds. And so
what blew my mind, Chris, was you made a specific statement about me, about myself, about my business, that really blew my mind, because I could not figure out how you would know what I was going through. And you mentioned something about my employees, and it was pretty freaking crazy. And I guess the question would be, how did you know? I don't think that's information that I've shared.
Yes. So I basically named a situation and described it in a way, the shape and circumstances of it. That's how I feel it in my mind, is I feel the shape and volume and dimensions and surfaces of a situation. Mind has form. The images of the mind have a form. We call them mind forms. And form suggests that it has a perimeter or edge or a surface. And if it has a surface, that means that it has a texture that you can feel. So a form, by definition, there's a feeling to it. There's a shape and a feeling. So you feel the images of your mind, and by how somebody describes something, I can describe it in a way that you start to picture it. If I say a yellow triangle with sharp edges that's, made of bronze and It's flat and about 6 feet tall. Like I can use words to help you feel it, and it's cold and you know, dented. I don't know. The better my language, I can describe things. Now, what if I, almost like charades, I can kind of beat around the bush of what I'm trying to describe in a way that you can start to form an idea of what I'm describing, even though I don't directly say it. That's how we as men know what our women are feeling. They don't hardly ever say exactly what they're feeling. We piece it together based on all the indirect statements they make. They need us to be like some predictor of their feelings. And then, because if we're not, then they'll complain about how we're not understanding them. You're not saying it. But if we want her love and affection, we got to be good at that. That's the exchange. She doesn't have to lift heavy weights and know how to go to war. You know? So basically, how you were talking about the situation put a shape to it in my mind. And I just described, I like triangulated, basically. You were describing it in different things I had heard that I then described, almost like if you were reading someone in poker. Like I can almost tell what you have. Do you have an ace nine? You probably got an ace nine, because I can tell what's on the table and how you're betting. I can tell you got an ace nine. Probably is one of them a club? It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's just because I'm reading the reactions, and so I see what's hidden. And that's what your women are doing to you if you're hiding something from them. That's why you need to be honest with her. They don't know it, though. They're not putting it together so logically. They're just getting a disturbed feeling about it. You know? So you got to clean out any dishonesty so that any of her disturbed feelings have nothing to do with you. That's when you can alpha up on them. But you got to clean out your dishonesties with women.
Makes sense. Makes lots of sense. Thank you. That I guess it just it was very impactful, because you said something very specific that I was like, how the fuck do you know that?
Yeah. So anybody that was there, I think Scott was there. You might rack your brain. Tony was there. If Tony Kosmiski might be able to remember. Those are the only guys that. Xavier was right next to me. You might even be able to remember what it is. Don't say it, but if you can go back, you'll remember what it was that I said about his situation. Or you can ask me privately. All right. So is there anything else? I mean, we've lost some of the audience. We still got a bunch of people here live, a bunch of people on Instagram. Any last things you want to get off your chest about the alpha code? I'll be sending out the notes. You guys have the recordings. I'll get I need to message. I'll get the mentorship recordings. He sent me the folder, but I needed to request access to it. And then, so I don't think that's the right way to do it, because that request will go to his girlfriend. And then, like, last time he just sends me the videos, so I need to get the videos. But everything else is uploaded, and it's all there for you.
Well, I'd like to invite Jose Guerrero to give us a little bit of his experience on our drive home. We made a couple of stops, gas stations, and he had a couple of events that maybe he can talk about if he's open to it, if he can talk.
Yes, sir. Which one? The gas station attendant?
Whatever. Yeah, I mean that one was good. Maybe you could talk about how you utilize the alpha code on that particular scenario.
Well, yeah. I once I walked in there, I asked her how she was doing and everything, and then I even asked for her number. I asked her if she's single and all that, and I wouldn't be that direct before, so it was a pretty cool experience. Obviously, I got shut down, but it was a cool experience, man.
Why is that obvious?
Funny.
Why is it obvious that you got shut down? What is that?
Oh, because Raul Cervantes actually told me that he heard the nervousness on my voice, and I'm on. Well, if she heard it, then it's gonna be even more obvious for her to shut me down. You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you on that. Well, bravo. And cool. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So one thing I noticed in that interaction was his energy was very appealing. So the moment that he walked in, she could not deny his presence. I can see the attraction for sure. The moment he started talking to her, he was communicating with her, asking her questions, saying a few flirtful things, or whatever the word is. He was just flirting with her, and she was being very responsive. However, his communication did have a lot of nervousness behind it. So I let him know afterwards. And I think that's why he wasn't able to close the deal in a sense, right?
Sure, man. Yeah.
And so, but one thing I want to mention is that the energy of the boot camp was definitely present because our presence alone in our environment, I can tell that we were influencing our environment.
For sure. Just the body language alone, the presence. When I think about Jose Guerrero going into the gas station, I see a Joe Pesci kind of short, stocky kind of character, walking like a boss. Now he opens up and starts talking. It's got to flow out like you've been talking all day, ordering people around, telling people what to do. You know, there's a depth to it, a slowness to it, a calmness to it. These things that you can focus on. You can have a little stress ball in your hand that you're squeezing while you're talking. You know, and get used to that outflow, but the body language and the confidence, I clearly see it. Yeah, you walk in, it's like this unintimidating, intimidating guy, or this intimidating, unintimidating guy. It's like a strange, like, I want to hug you, I want to run from you kind of guy. It's like I don't know, it's like a bear, a little bear, but like a little bear is still going to fuck you up because a little bear will fuck you up.
Yeah, it makes sense. And right now, even when I'm trying to describe it, like I said, it's tough for me to describe it, but it's gonna get better, man. I know it is, as long as I keep pushing myself to try and describe it and not get nervous about it, man.
Yeah, man. Even when you go more Mexican, man, when you start talking with men, when the words flow out of your mouth, when you use that dialect that you have, and stop trying to speak so proper. I'm proper. I have a PhD. I'm not trying to speak this way. This is how I talk.
I see. I totally see that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
He said, sir.
Yeah. Hey, it's cool, man. I respect it. Yes, sir. I'll call you sir too, sir. For sure.
I had
Scott,
a question.
Jayson, let's go with a new voice and then we'll get to Scott.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to know, because I've had conversations with Guerrero on a number of occasions. And when I talk to him, I don't sense a nervousness. It's like almost as if he's putting that on himself. Like that's the way he's seeing his communication. And I'm just wondering, is that just me, or did anyone, like, do you guys sense a nervousness in his communication?
Yes.
Yeah.
His voice trembles a little bit. He hesitates. It almost turns a little squealy. But then that's why I said when he goes into his more familiar sitting at a couch at home tone,
Yeah.
and it flows out like a soothing romantic dialect should, which is the Spanish American dialect. I mean, it's a romance language. Like it flows, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
brother. I my voice trembles when there's more than one person. Like a one-on-one, I feel like I'm a fucking beast. Like me and Raul, or me and Miracle J, just one-on-one, me and Monster, or whoever I'm talking to, and I speak, and we're just by ourselves. I know my communication is way better, but it's when there's more than a couple of people that my voice starts trembling. Like right now, there's more than, if it was just me and Yogi Chris or one-on-one, then it would be different. And that's something I got to work on, and I'm okay with it. So just keep going, man. Just keep going.
I see.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
And we're hearing, everybody that is still here is already hearing improvements in your communication. So it's already better, way better. So
hell yeah. And that's because it's like I said, especially in Lions Den earlier, man, I'm all like, what the fuck was that, dude? You know you're better than that shit. Mate, he's like, nah, man, you gotta go, man. You gotta not be as shy and be more prepared. Be prepared, because I saw a lot of things. I saw when he was eating the ice cream or the shake and all that, and I didn't bring it up, you know, like shit like that.
yeah, for sure. You know, and take care of your state of mind. There is a book preparation of listing down what you saw, let's say, to prepare for it. But there's being in the state of mind to recall those things, which is the easiest state of mind to think about, I think, for me, is a talkative state of mind. To just be in a talkative state of mind. And that will, being in that state of mind, you'll find the words, you'll get a handle on the idea once you start talking. But it's hard to just start off on topic if you haven't been talking. you know, so, or at least in that mode where you're like ready to talk, you know. That's what helps me prepare for those moments, or any moment I got to step up like that, mentally, communicatively. I don't even know if that's a word. And right on. Yeah, relaxing until you get better at it. So it's fucking dope, you know. It's dope having you around and watching you level up, you know.
Do you remember anything right now that you might want to share? Or is that something we don't want to talk about?
Well,
Guerrero, just
see,
asking you.
yeah, I'm not sure what you're talking about, brother. I don't know what else.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're calling the infield. No, we won't do the infield right now because I got one of my girls on, so we'll call the infield. But yeah, it was very powerful. Maybe we'll do it on Clubhouse later, or Lions Den. Really, that's the place for that. So yeah, and then Scott Gravell, I don't know if he's still on. You had your hand up, and then we'll end it. Maybe he's going through customs or something. Yeah, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? No, I was texting, so I had to get off the screen. Yeah, what I find to help with that nervousness is the first thing, small wins throughout the day. So make sure you're waking up when you should wake up. Make sure you're taking your cold showers, and pretty much, you know, things that make you uncomfortable, especially the cold showers. I know that for me. And when you get in there and you do it, it's like a small win, and then you feel better about yourself, and like your confidence is boosted. Then you can go out there and you can use that for other things. And then as far as like talking, going out there and talking to women, just talk to multiple women. After you talk to like 2, 3, 4 women, then that tension starts getting lifted up because you start getting into like a talkative vibe. And that's always helped me out.
There it is. You're right. State of mind, being talkative right away. And there's some practical steps there. Dope. All right, everybody. Tomorrow is Enlightened Masculinity. I may or may not do a woman's lecture on that also. That's what I did last week. And then tonight, 8 p.m. So in an hour and a half, Tribal Council or Bearded Monks. And then the event, start making those plans. If you're gonna come live, make those plans. 17, or the main event is 18, 19, 20 of June. And you know, or put something down, lock in your spot. All right. And if you're on YouTube or catching the recording, of course, if you're at this point, you should definitely have followed already. Click the link in the description, get on everything. We'll see everybody next time. Os.
Os.